Recording.
Half the room is adjourned.
Good morning, Likutei Moharan Zayin, Tinyana. We are in Odalit. We are near the last little paragraph in Odalit. Like I told you many times, Rabbeinu said you will not understand the Torah if you don't know it, beginning to the end and end to the beginning. The way Likutei Moharan is a circle. Every Torah is a circle. There is no beginning, there's no end. Even though we have to start somewhere, but you have to know that you're actually jumping in the middle sometimes. Because actually when you get to the end, it's connected to the beginning, and the beginning is connected to the end. So when you get to the end, you realize that you're right back at the beginning. And every concept is intertwined. If we don't do this, so it's very strong chizuki. What do we see? A manig, we need a manig. The manig is Rahman. Rahmanut is, you gotta know how to be mirachem, how to be merciful. Don't be merciful on a killer. Don't be merciful on a stealer. You gotta know for a kid, you gotta give him milk. You gotta give for an adult meat. Don't mix it up. Very nice. Then what is the Rahmanut of that's mechazik on itself. Find the real manig. And each part will mechazik you. But if you connect A to B to C to D, Aleph to Bet to Gimel to Dalet to A, and everything, then you start to realize how Aleph's connected to Gimel, Aleph connected to Dalet, Aleph connected. Each one is intertwined. You start to have clarity on the Noseh. The concept of Rahmanut becomes alive when you know later, because you understand what the Rahmanut is based on what's written in Hey, what's written in Dalet. So I'm always going to go back a short recap for you to always have the ladder, the derech, the path, the steps. And then we're going to see how they're intertwined. You can see what Rabbi Natan does with that, what the Rabbi Shirin does with that. So now where are we holding? That leadership is mercy. Mercy needs to have sechel, how to be merciful. Then we said the ikar mercy is to save a person from sinning. The real pity on Klal Yisrael, which you can cry for Am Yisrael, is that they're involved, that they're not close to Hashem. It's so pitiful. So pitiful. A person who was himself changed direction in life is easy to understand that. It's very easy. You know what it was the life before, and you know what the life is now. You knew what it was the life without holiness, and now you know what it is. The pleasure that you have. So wish that on other people. The manig has to want that for other people. How do you get them to change? Teach them. Dat, sechel. You got to give them sechel. Ashkem maskil dan. You got to give some dat to a person. Then Rabbeinu goes on another tangent. What's the tangent? And guess what? You're going to give that to people. You want to give that not only when you're alive. You got to make sure that you're here even after you pass away, that your dad is still here. That your input, that your secher, that your avodat Hashem is still continuing. So you could be mirubash. How do we do that? You have a son or a child. You have a son that's following your ways, or you have a student that's following your ways. So you're still here through your student. But Rabbeinu says it's more than that. Every person can have infinite amount of students. Because every person you talk to could be a student. And you could be a student by many people. Somebody who gives over to you and you give over to somebody else. Now, if that word goes into his heart, John, you with me? Those diburim go into his heart and he's living those diburim, and he's going to give them over, you see? It's menubash betoch hadibur. Your soul will come after 120 years and actually be still involved in this world. It's hard for us to understand how this works. We don't see neshamot here dressed up over here. Who's dressed up in you? But you have to know that it's actually like that. That the neshamot in the next world still will have a chelik over here. And you need to still have a chelik over here because of the benefits you're going to get from it. We don't know what they are yet. We're going to see them soon. But the benefit of leaving over people that will have gotten chizuk from you, a kabbalah from you, a derech from you, you're going to see the benefit very soon. What happens when you get that, when you have that. And then Rabbeinu said, now Rabbeinu is going to say, Ubemet benu talmid kulo chad. So right before Otei, Ubemet benu talmid kulo chad. We said that you have a student, you have a child. Really, it's one thing. Ki abenu gam ken talmid. Because a student, your child, is for sure talmid. Because if he's, like we said before, if it's to have a kid that's not going to do mitzvot, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking a kid that's taking the direction of the father and continuing it. A student is also like a child. The Gemara says in Sanhedrin, if you teach a kid Torah, you're his tutor, you're his Rebbe, you're his Melamed, it's like you created him. It's like you created his body. כנחשב כאילו עשה את הגוף של התלמיד. גם כן. How did I create the body? The parents created the body. I didn't create the body, you created the body. You know why? כי מקודם לא היה נקרא בשם אדם כלל. מאחר שלא היה בו דת. Like we said before, that a person is defined by his intellect. Intellect, by definition, is not knowledge of having a lot of knowledge of this world and how to manipulate the world for your benefits. Knowledge, pshat, is knowledge of Hashem. The only knowledge you should have pride in is knowledge of God. So if you don't have knowledge of God, so what are you? Not a person, called an animal. So if the Rebbe gave over a sechel to the person, he didn't only give him the soul, the mind, he gave him the body, because it wasn't a human body till now. It was an animal body that looks very similar to a human body. Last year I was in Jerusalem in the zoo. We went to the zoo on Chol HaMoed, Sukkot. I couldn't stop looking at those apes.
Gaza?
No. I couldn't stop looking at the apes. The apes were like so close to human. By the way, they say that from the Dor HaFlaga, the punishment of the people is that Hashem turned them into apes. So they actually started off as people. Elephants and apes. That's why they're smart animals.
So evolution is backwards.
Exactly right. Exactly backwards. So,
punishment
of the Dor HaFlaga, they wanted to rebel against Hashem, so Hashem made them be a monkey. So, if I'm not mistaken. So here, if a guy looks like a person, but he's really a monkey. He looks like a human, he's not a human. You give him brains, you created him a human, so you created his body. So a ben and a talmid is all one. כי מקודם לא היה, like we said, מאחר שלא היה לו בו דת, ולא היה רק דמות בן אדם, נמצא שעל ידי שלמד עמו תורה והכניס בו דת, על ידי זה נעשה אדם. By teaching him, created him. כי נחשב כאילו עשאו ממש, ממש. I've been using the word mamash. You created his body. על כן, גם תלמיד הוא בחינת בן. Ben and Talmid is one. What does Rebbe want from us? What does make a difference? I already have a Ben, I already have a Talmid. Later we're going to see that it's all intertwined. Later we're going to see what is a person that you're dealing with Ben and Talmid. What is a Ben and Talmid? In terms of you forming him. Because what did we say? You got to give dat. You got to give sechel. Yes? But there's a difference the way you give to a Ben, and there's a difference the way you give to a Talmid. There is a difference. But if we're saying that they're one, so there's different times for each person how you teach them. Sometimes you're like my son, and I got to give you one information, one derek, one path. But sometimes you're like a Talmud, I get to give you a different path. See the difference? And so each one is for all people. All people that you're involved with, all people that you're trying to be mashpi on, the chokhmah is when to give what. When to give which message. You give him a slap or you give him a kiss. Smol doche, yamin mekarevet. When you're a teacher, you got to know. Some people like the rabbi that's always chesed, but you're not helping them fully. And there's some rabbanim, it's always din. The tiferet is to know when to michazik, when to meromem, when to encourage, when to praise, when to show him how special he is. And the chokhmah is to tell him, when are you going to start moving? You know, life is going fast. What's going to be with you? Somebody who's doing only one of the two things. So there's a rabbi who's only kulo chesed. Everybody likes him. The best. He's always mechazik us. He's always telling us we're special. He's always telling us we're great. He's always telling us we're the best and nobody better than us. I love that rabbi. But are those people actually ended up moving? Did it change so much? Look at them 10 years later. It's hard to change. Akol tov. V'men akol tov. And the other rabbi, you're going to go to Ginam, and that's not a dibu. But you know what I mean. It's very, very strict, so not everybody can hold on over there. But whoever holds on, gets into the army, starts to grow. But that's not the chokhmah. Chokhmah is each one to give what? To be able to talk to all people all the time. And to be able to, because you need to make sure that they're developing properly, healthy. So when we say that you're giving over dat to a better talmid, there's actually ways to deal with each person. Now the fact that we're going to see what that is. It's called Kol B'Shamayim V'Aretz. And who can do that? Why do we say the only real manhig is Moshe Rabbeinu? Because the only real one who knows what you need when you need is Moshe Rabbeinu. Because he knows you better than yourself. Because he's part of you. The real manhig in Am Yisrael is Moshe Rabbeinu. Because Moshe Rabbeinu is not a separate person. Moshe Rabbeinu is you. Pirush, there are tzaddikim that encompass many neshamot. Sarner, Asara. You have a Rav, he teaches 10 people. He's shaykh neshama to 10 people. 1 to 50, 1 to 100, 1 to 1,000. Then you have a Nasi. Then you have Tzaddik Emet. Tzaddik Emet is encompassing all the souls. That's why every soul will find himself in the Tzaddik Emet. And there's not one person who can't mikarev. Is Rabbeinu Sfaradi or Hasid or Ashkenazi or Chassid? What is he? Everybody will think Rabbeinu is exactly like him. Rabbi Shimon Yochai, what is he? Sfaradi. But the Hasidim, when they draw the pictures of him, it's with the payas. Because Rabbi Shimon speaks to everybody. It's not one thing. Yes, there are 12 Shvatim, and each group in Am Yisrael has a direction. But the Tzaddik Emes in the middle, me'ir to each one, Perush, his neshama is kolel, all the neshamot. Moshe Rabbeinu understands you better than you understand yourself. Because he knows your Gidgun, he knows where you are, he knows where you are Shorosh in the Torah. Rabbeinu is able to tell every person where the Merumaz in the Torah, which Tzirufatiyot they are. What letter are you connected to? So he knows you better than yourself. So that's why he is the only one who can deal with you in the right way. Rabbi Natan once, it was before a big gathering, Shavuot, and he was a little uncertain. He was like a little nervous before the Chag.
Is after Rabbeinu was passed?
Yeah. It was the first time where they had Rabbi Nosson had a big kibbutz by him. It was a Shavuot, a certain Shavuot, he had 65 people. But it was a big gathering. People traveled on horse to come see him. He became officially like a Rebbe. Even though he didn't have the title of Rebbe, he was a Rebbe without the title of Rebbe. And so he was not sure. So he said, "What's wrong? What's bothering you, Nosson?" So he said, "I don't. If a guy needs chizuk, you need to pick him up. You need to, give him some bisamim to feel better. The guy's passed out, and you give him some bisamim. You got to wake him up. If you got to mechazik him and you give him torerut, you're not doing enough. You got to do more. Then you're gonna break him. But if the guy needs chizuk because he's already doing good, and you give him tout est bien mon fils, adish l'ador, and they give you a kiss, you also bring him down. Rabbi Natan writes in Likutei Alachot, it's like paraduma. Paraduma is mitaher the tmeim, and it's mitameh the teorim. Nikuda tova could actually be not good sometimes. Who says? Rabbi Natan. You gotta know when. The guy's doing great. The guy doesn't need nikuda tova. He needs to fix that small midah. He needs to mikadesh himself a little bit more. Don't tell him nikuda tova. Tell him Hashem is so great. You didn't start yet. You know who Rabbeinu was? Rabbeinu was eating the food at the top of his he was crushing the food in his teeth. He wasn't eating in the palate even. Come on, let's meet Kadesh a little. That's what you gotta tell him. So Rabbi Natan was scared. I don't know what they need right now. How do you give? Now there's even a bigger sechel where you can give everything, and the tzaddik emes is able in one speech to give each one what he needs to hear, and what he doesn't need to hear, they forget it. But we're going to the next level now. So the manig amiti is dealing with you for what you need at all moments in your avodat Hashem. So that's the real manhig, because he knows how to get you out of sin, what dibur to give you. I give you a sneak peek what we're going to see soon. It's coming up. But let's go back to Othei, because now we all have the job to speak to people with Yirat Shamayim, to speak to people of avodat Hashem, or even more, the way that Rabbi Natan prays for it in the Likutei Tefillot, because the Likutei Tefillot is a pirush on the Likutei Moharan. He prays, bring me to the real manhig. Bring me to the one that can give me that to save me from sin. We're seeing now the Torah that you gotta tell over a chizuk to your friend, you gotta give that, you gotta have a ben, you gotta have a good talmid. What if I tell you the opposite? You gotta go become a talmid. Because if you're not a full talmid, and you didn't get yet the dat from the one above you, so you still can do things that the Torah forbids. Somebody told me in Uman, he said, I didn't know I have so many averot. I came there. I started to read the vidui over there on Erev Rosh Hashanah. I didn't know. I was I didn't know. I didn't think it was a tzaddik, but I know I was doing so many things. I see I'm doing things I'm doing wrong. You start to read the vidui, you're doing all these things wrong. Oh, all these things wrong I'm doing. Now, why are we doing things wrong? Because we don't have enough consciousness of Hashem. So how do we get it? So go to the one who's going to give it to you. Go to the one who's going to give you the sechel. Go to the one who's going to give you the dat. Become a Talmud of the Rebbe. Open the books. Go to the tziyur. Go to the Talmidim. Be with the chaverim. All this is part of the Rebbe. The chidush is the Rebbe is going to deal with you always what you need. Rabbeinu said he's still leading us now. It's not we don't have a Rebbe. We have a Rebbe. Rabbeinu is leading us. When we're learning Torah together, when we're going through it together, the Rebbe is making sure that this group together is learning this. Why did we not choose a different program? We could have went with Sfat, we could have went this, we chose this, because this is what the Rebbe wants from us now to hear these things. Stay connected. You're going to get the dat. Then you're going to get the dat, you're going to be able to give the dat. And then you're going to be a conduit in the chain. You're going to be one of the rings in the chain of the Shalshelet. But here's what I want to read to you next. Omnam. And this is very strong and very important. And it's going to be for everybody. A barometer and a test. Where are you going to get your chizuk? Where do you listen to? Omnam, מי שרוצה לדבר עם חברו ביראת שמיים, אותי, צריך שיהיה לו יראת שמיים. If you want to start giving over Yirat Shamayim, or if you want to go get Yirat Shamayim, the person giving it, you or the other one, has to have Yirat Shamayim. כדי שדבריו נשמעים אצל חברו, so that it should enter your ears. כמו שאמרו רבותינו ז"ל, the Gemara says, כל מי שיש בו יראת שמיים, דבריו נשמעים.
Am I missing something? Isn't that quite a lot? It feels like it's an obvious statement, but I guess it's not.
That what?
מי שרוצה לדבר עם חברו ביראת שמיים,
צריך שיהיה לו יראת.
Isn't that like a...
Not at all. It's not obvious at all. Let me read one more line and I'll explain it to you. דבריו נשמעים, וגם כדי שיתקיימו דבריו אצל חברו. Not only nishma, and the Pakod is medayek over here, that it should be long-lasting by you, mikuyam by you, becomes part of you. כי לפעמים מדבר אחד עם חברו, ותקף ומיד עובר והולך הדיבור מלב חברו. As soon as he tells you what he has to tell you, gone. In one ear, out the other ear. ואינו מתקיים אצלו כלל. It's not staying by you. על כן, צריך לזה יראת שמיים. כי מי שיראת חטאו קודמת לחוכמתו, you can have a lot of knowledge, but is your actions, are your maasim, is your yirat shamayim to the level of your knowledge? If the Mishnah says, if your yirat shamayim is more than your knowledge, chokhmato mitkayemet. It lasts. The simple pshat there is if a guy is just learning and not practicing, even his wisdom he's not going to keep. Even his knowledge he's not going to remember. But Rabbeinu is midaresh another way. Hainu sheyesh kiyum dvarav etzel chavero, by the second person. You might have knowledge. In other words, a guy could know a lot of things. Could be a great speaker. Could have chidushim. Could read you a chizuk. But for some reason, I'm not able to hear what you're saying. Not only I'm not able to hear, even if I listen and I want to be chazik from him, I can't take it down and become part of me and change with it.
Is that because you don't have Yirat Shamayim?
Because he doesn't have.
He doesn't.
Why do you give chidushim and all that if you don't have Yirat Shamayim?
I'll tell you what. You can have a lot of knowledge and not practice. If a guy's going to say great chidushim and he goes to the beach, but it's not a big deal because you're going to go to the beach and you can know chidushim. You could be talking with ladies and involved in things, and so the chizuk is not going to be. I'm not able to hear. I really want to hear what you have to say. You have such great ideas, and you're even reading from Rabbeinu. It's not going to go in the heart. It's not going to stay by me. It's not going to change me. The most simple things you hear from a tzaddik, the most simple things will be eternal by you. That's why if you're next to a tzaddik, Rabbeinu once, there's this whole story. Rabbeinu would say he met a kid. And he just said a few diburim to the kid. It lasted his whole life. Because if it's coming from a place of purity, if it's coming from a place of holiness, of Shmirat Hanayim, of Shmirat Abrit, of Yirat Shamayim, of Chatzot, of Kedusha, of Tfilah, of all those things together, so it's real, pure Kedusha. Dvarim hayotzim min halev nichnasim lalev. Could be, it's in style. Rabbi Nachman's in style. People are listening to me. So what we're looking for in a mashpia is the kedusha. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for purity. And guess what? If you find the person with the purity, number one, you're going to be interested to hear. I would see Rav Koenig sometimes. He would say the most simple things. He would stand up in a room. I told you once, the first time I saw him, we were by. I don't want to go over the time. We're finished?
No, 3 minutes. You finish later. No?
I'll give you another minute. We once by, the first time I saw Rav Koenig in official setting, someone, Zatzal, he was in Leon Biton's house. Leon Biton. It was like in the living room, big living room, a lot of people, they were doing a fundraiser, it was like a huge crowd over there, and they didn't know the Rav. Another Rav, another hat, another beer. Okay, no Rabban, no Rabban. They were schmoozing, the cocktail. Okay, we're here. They called us to come. We'll give a donation. And they tried a few times to quiet down the crowd. A few times to quiet. No, it wouldn't work. The Rav was sitting in a chair and wanted to speak. At a certain point, the Rav stood up. Just he stood up, the whole crowd fell silent. You could drop a pin, you would hear the pin. And I was so impressed with that. I didn't understand why. His aura of Yirat Shamayim that he had gave you Yirat Shamayim. He's so in Yirat Shamayim of Hashem that the energy that he had was overflowing to you. He didn't even speak yet. People were in awe of his presence. And then he would speak. Sometimes it's the most simple things. And some people would say, wow, we want some chidushim, He would come in, he would analyze the crowd, he would know where they're holding. He would speak about Nida, about Shabbat, about saying a bracha. The most simple things. But when he said it, it went into you. And by the way, it's not only him. It's every gadol, every kadosh, every tzaddik that's really living it inside. When he'll tell you the information, you're interested to hear. You're like a magnet to hear. It's not a bother to hear. Sometimes you're there, you don't want to hear the guy. Could be a great, very wise, great speaker, but can't listen. Can't listen. Why can't you listen? I would really like to listen. And even if I want to listen because I'm trying, it's going to go in and out. It won't affect. But the tzaddik, if he tells you one simple dibur, it's going to be stuck in your heart. It's going to be engraved in your heart. It will change you. So, number one to know, if you want to get Yirat Shamayim, you want to get the Rebbe, you got to go to a pure source. And Rabbeinu says in Sefer Amidot, the makom that you shoev your chokhmah has to be a makor tahor. Ve'al yachlifenu. Don't switch it. Once you found the pure source, stick to the source. Don't switch. There's a lot to be said about that. And us as well. If I want to mechazek somebody else, it's not dibur, it's maaseh. So you want to tell the person, it's not working. I'm trying to teach the kid. I'm trying to touch the person. It's nothing to do with him. It's nothing to do with you. If you will mikadesh yourself, it's automatic that they're going to hear and automatically will change with the most simple statements. Shabbat Shalom.